Hi, Taurus. All right, welcome to the space. Thank you for being here. Thank you so very much. Okay, so what was the first message I wanted to share with you? It was important. Oh, it's hard to do everything by yourself, right? Right. What was the other thing? No, that's it. We'll leave that. We'll leave that. So I guess one thing at a time. And I really feel like I feel like if you pick two major things to be like, okay, I need to do this and that, and then maybe two like minor things during Pisces season, right? Because it's a little slower in the season. Although I feel like you, particularly sun signs, I feel like you're comfortable in this season. You can kind of, we don't need to get into that. But the point is that, go over what you did the day before, but not for other people. Because the initial message was, it's hard to do everything by yourself, right? So it's like, what do you need to do? And if for some reason there's extra days that you're motivated and you're like, wow, I did like 6 things today. Because there's always upkeep, right? That was a Sagittarius reading. All right. Give me one. You want to just a second. Okay. Yes, strength card. Perfect. It was like staring at me. Taurus. What do we need to know for Taurus? Okay. Just a minute, please. Well, there's wisdom in your heart. There's truth in your heart. There's many truths in your heart, Taurus, I guess. I guess we can make this wider. We're in Pisces season, right? There are many stories in your heart, Taurus. Some of them are stories that used to hurt and now they're healed. Some are healing. Some are still in pain. Mostly because I'm seeing here that it's almost like Scorpio is your opposite. So that equals some Scorpio, Pluto in your chart. I don't know, something like this gives you pain here. Something to do with Scorpio, but then I also see that there's like a lie in your heart, Taurus. I heard it's not like a malicious lie. You know what I mean? You're not, but there's something in your heart that isn't true. And you're trying to figure it out. Oh, yes, it does have to do with Scorpio. What is this Scorpio? Just a minute. Okay. It's nice to be in the present moment, right? But when I'm recording this, it's an unconscious, it's Pisces season, it's unconscious, right? So it's good sometimes to just sort of let it float, because you're not literally in the ocean, and you're not literally in a person literally in the ocean floating like on a half rotten like board, right, or log. That's not what's happening here. So I see, let yourself really get into, or like allow yourself to settle into, during this time frame, like, what bothers you, okay? Because it's hard for you, right? But this is less of an external thing. It's not really like, oh, you bother me, or that bothers me. It's like, where do you feel weak even though you feel strong? Give me just a second. Okay, so it's an interesting energy, Taurus. It like won't let me really tap in. Oh, it's a coulda, woulda, shoulda. It's a coulda, woulda, shoulda. Oh, I see. Conscious, subconscious, unconscious. Okay. Just a second. Well, this makes it even deeper. Dang it. I was trying to make it easier. Oh, King of Coins. I was trying to make it Knight of Coins. I was trying to make it easier. Let me just double up and we'll talk about the cards. Okay, I'm sorry for the what seems like a slow intro. I guess that's the thing, is you can't rush in the sea. When we're in the sea, we're at mercy of the water, right? You don't control the tide. I mean, I guess you could make you could make a sail, you could take your shirt and kind of make a sail and find that stick that's floating by and try to do something. But really, we're at the mercy of a lot of things in life, the weather, the water, things of this nature. It can interrupt, like, certain things, right? Change the path or the timing of it. It's this one. And so I heard that's why it's very important to feel brave in yourself right now and know what is a lie about your own capacity to change or to accept enough to be able to step forward without fear. I also feel like all of you here, healthy, super healthy. Maybe that's a part of it, is like there's something that you feel like is, there's a part of your subconscious and unconscious that thinks that something is sick or something is like not, it's ill, right? It's uneasy. Now, I'm not saying the situation is easy, but I am saying that it is healthy what is happening here, and how you take care of yourself, how you think consciously, because Taurus, Taurus energy moves very slowly, right? To even do the physical thing, never mind the subconscious thing, the unconscious thing, unless you were conscious of this process, and then it's going to make it, Scorpio's going to be like, ding, 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 good job. Okay, you get an extra, I heard you heard, it's like you had the token to pass over the water, right? You don't have to be at the mercy of it. You get a boat with an oar. I love you, God. Okay, so, love you, ancestors. Love you, life. Alright, so, Taurus, maybe these things need to be emphasized. Because the thing is this, okay, so, life is so deep, right, Taurus? Life is so deep. I know all of you are so smart, right? You so creative, so nurturing and giving, loving, you care so much. But you're almost like Libra, where you try to keep your emotions really tempered. You know what I mean? But the thing is, oh, this is awesome. The thing is in Scorpio's reading this month, it was like, that was their very first message. Who likes mediocre? Who likes tempered? It's like, it's hot or it's cold. Like, there is no tempered, you know, like, we can get there by mixing the hot and the cold water to equal something warm, but if we don't attend to that all the time, then it's going to get hotter, or it's going to become colder, mediocre, sort of tempered. And what is that? That doesn't, you know, you think life is about growth, right, and change, and especially those that are a sun Taurus will have a little astrology lesson. The sun represents laws and kings and fathers and rules. You know, it represents the ego. It represents I am. And it's how comfortable you are with you. I am comfortable with I. That's an ego. But Taurus has a very low ego because the sun and Venus are not friends. You know what I mean? The king does not like an artist. You know? They don't want the rebellious artist changing people's feelings. They want the friends of the sun are Jupiter and Mars, right? So, Taurus. I do feel like if you have a creative job, whatever that means to you, you are a creative person and you have a creative job. I see, please be very frugal with your money. And also figure out how that can sustain you somehow. Think about while you're in this Piscean water, right, sort of floating, really think about who you are, like, as an individual. There's no one else in this boat. Like I said in the beginning, it's hard to do it all by yourself, right? And it's so rare that we're literally doing something by ourselves. So that independence is, and this goes into the sun, independence, ego, the sun equals drive and ambition to do something, self-motivation to be like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to become the king, you know, I'm going to make this rule for myself or for my life, you know what I'm saying? So you really have to do that, but I know that with other people, Taurus, a lot of times, and this takes a while, and if you already feel like you figured this one out, well, I heard take a second gander, and even if you figured a good chunk of this out and have been practicing, which are, I see steps of Lilith here, there are stages of Lilith, right, which is rebellion. To the very first step of her is to speak up for yourself. You rule the throat, right? But other people influence you so much. They do. Your efforts and your energy. You'll give so much that you don't even have anything in your basket. You know? And actually, you and Cancer are going to be on the same day, and I always connect you, and that's definitely something that you should cross-reference. I see in your chart, yes, please, to figure out a little bit more about what Scorpio is trying to teach you this time. By you specifically, your Taurus, okay? I just saw someone, a piece of paper that said, I need, really big. I see this in a wider context. Yes. Yes, Scorpio. This is what Scorpio is teaching you. It's like, it's teaching you, in Pisces time, Scorpio is teaching you how to figure out what you need. Not only as a soul, but also literal day-to-day necessity for your own soul. I mean, of course, responsibility, Scorpio rules power. You got to take care of the money and the bills and the yard and your vehicle and your children and etc. Like the plants in your house, like anything that you've decided, I want this in my life, right? I want to put this in my life, whatever that is, then you have to have responsibility with it, right? You can't just like take on something and then be like, whatever, I don't care. Because what you're going to do is you're going to lose power. And it's important to keep your power, to keep yourself certain about well, I guess what your power is and how you can use your energy. Because I keep seeing Libra, it's like your day-to-day stuff, like balancing like yourself and your family, your responsibilities and your fun, right? Just what is the, and maybe this list has to do with, maybe you do need to write down what needs to be done daily, right? Maybe, again, just 2 big things that need to be done, and then maybe 2 things that are small that you know you need to handle. Of course, we could go wider to a week, to a month, whatever. But I find, and this isn't a diss, it's just the way the animal's set up. Taurus energy is going to be very, unless the Libra is strong, you're going to, a bull always generally has its head down, right? Focused on whatever is very microcosm in the moment. But it is, that's why Libra is your inconjunct, and actually, yeah, we'll leave it like that. Actually, I feel like Libra talked about this, the microcosm and the macrocosm. Interesting reading. 10 of Pentacles, beautiful. Oh yeah, that's where that goes. Okay, so if you have any concerns about money, then all you have to do is put some energy towards realizing what you have, towards resources somehow, and the management of them, because you actually, in a sense, rule resources. Yeah, Ace of Pentacles, awesome, with the 3 of Pentacles, beautiful. You have a lot of earth here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9. So, Taurus, what is it that you don't, and this isn't for all of you, but there's a good chunk here, I see it. It's like, what do you feel like you can't do alone? Or those of you who have been doing it alone, you've figured this one out, you're down the path and you're like, yep, got it, like really independent, not relying upon other people for how you feel or how happy you are, right? Jupiter in your chart is how happy you are. So, but it's your happiness that you create, not, it isn't, none of that comes from outside of us, and that's the ultimate lesson of, that's one of the biggest lessons of Scorpio, right? Is that it's not literal, it's psychological. But those of you who have been very independent, you're aware of this, then it's kind of like now you're in a stage where you're like, okay, let me try to fold in somebody else, or preparing yourself in some way for some sort of folding in with other people. But I sense for most of you, there's something at this time where you're meant to really think about well, I guess you have to imagine if you did everything by yourself. You have to use your imagination, right? You're sextile to Pisces, right? You can use you have a great imagination. That's why most of you are so creative, because you can just pull these magical ideas right out of it, and out of the ether, or out of the sea. Interesting, Taurus. There is definitely some adjustments needed in your heart. Yes, I just pulled the Lovers and the Judgment card. How do you feel about love? How do you feel about, I was actually just reading about the Lovers in this elemental deck, and it actually expressed the Lovers as where someone made a choice and now they're in a decision, like they're in a position and they have to deal with the consequences. Now, of course, there are we'll leave it like that. I do feel like do your budget. Do your budget. These ones, do your budget. Do your budget. Write down, and I see again, I need. And this is a lot of physical things, right? Like, and I guess because you're fixed energy, when we talk about change, it doesn't have to be big, huge changes, because everything's kind of the same. Do you know what I mean? Even in the 1600s, it's like the problems that we're having now, 100 years ago, problems we're having now in your person, in our lives, it's kind of the same thing, but just maybe with different different fashion, or like maybe different food. You know, it's like, but I heard, but the stars haven't moved, so yeah, I really do feel like do your budget. Maybe you want to figure out your retirement. Maybe you want to figure out what something about your career and your or like you in the world as an individual. And I heard comfortable in where you came from and comfortable where you are. And maybe that's the thing. Maybe there's a little bit of a illusion around the reality of people. Like maybe there's a projection in a way, or but I heard that's neither here nor there if you know your own power and what you achieve day to day and what you think is possible. Right? If you don't think that you can do something, maybe you want to check your negative talk too. Like if you're like, I can't do this, or I don't want to do that, or whatever. Whenever it's a negative, yes, Empress, please go back and correct, like apologize for being cruel to yourself, right? For being weak, and that's to be like, whoa, why am I being so weak? I mean, please answer that question. If you want to dig a little deeper, say sorry to yourself. And then I heard, what did we say earlier? I love you, God. I love you, ancestors. I love you, life. And then, yes, 8 of Wands. And Empress, and this is gonna like recalibrate you, because I've said it to you before, but sometimes I call you the tender of Mother Nature, you know. But that is a lot of work. Anyone who's ever lived on land, you know, taking care of a home, being a what is it called? A steward of the land, a steward of life. Taurus. Let's I just heard what's good. So let's get into that hybrid. Sorry, I feel like I was yelling. I just saw Sagittarius again. What's good, Taurus? Okay, when you know the truth of something, you might have to reaffirm that once in a while until that truth is true, like you really believe that. And I do see some sort of blossoming in a new belief system. I see a happy home. Hi, Sammy. But I also see that there's a lot of reflection into, at least at this time, there's some, it's like you have a distraction. Yeah, High Priestess. You have a distraction. What is your distraction from what you need to do? That's what's good. If you know that, then you win the game. Do you know what I mean? Because that's your power. If time is something that is outside of our hands, but you live in the present moment with an acceptance of the past and an awareness of that your present moment and past really connects to the future, then this means that you are empowered. You are in power. So I guess it's about the like, what are your goals? I feel like you should make a list of 8 things that you wish for. Like, pretend you're I don't know, you have 8 wishes. What do you wish for? Right? And see what element that lies within. Like is it all emotional? Is it balanced? And I see, make sure you're paying attention where it is. I heard there's nothing wrong with extra earth, right? Because you need that. We all need that to be grounded, right? Like handling ourselves as an individual, right? Being responsible for that. Understanding, like, okay, this seems impossible. It seems out of your wheelhouse somehow. Maybe you feel like that with something. Then you say to yourself, okay, this seems impossible, but I'm gonna try. Let me try something. And because with Uranus and Taurus, you're gonna have to try something new. I mean, I guess we're all on a different point in the path, but I heard love is not your job. That's not your job. You can share that, but that's not your job. Because there are, for instance, there are occupations for a reason, right? We have to learn about responsibility and resources and power and what that means and what we're going to do with what we have. There's nothing evil or frustrating or even difficult about it. It's a resource. Everything all of that is existing all of the time. Interesting reading, Taurus. I know, it's like, how do you let go and hold on? Well, okay. I guess the answer is nothing's yours anyway. You're just the steward of your life. How does your garden grow? Your garden. How does your garden grow? Because when we know that individually, right, the need of your own soul, and realize again that we can't do it all by ourselves. Didn't we say this a long time ago? Like, ask for help. You might need to ask for help with something. Be like, hey, I need a hand. But you already made the plan. Right? Self-motivate. What are you motivated to do at this time, Taurus? What's your motivation? I keep seeing Sagittarius. Huh? Trippy. Well, I do hope this finds you lighter. I know it's not always easy, right, to get the rock out of the boat, right? I just saw someone, you in a little boat with there was like a cinder block. It's like sometimes you gotta pick up and hold the heavy thing and put it in the sea so that your boat doesn't sink. You know what I mean? So you have more room. Because who put it there in the first place anyway? Your mom? I don't know. Your dad? Your family somehow? A man, a woman? We'll put it that way. Whoever put it in there. You just pick it up and you toss it. You just toss that. You just toss it into the ocean and realize that, please, Taurus, there's something about this. You fill, I was in the garden this morning, sorry. You fill your own basket. Do you know what I mean? This is Saturn lesson too, this card to me. What's going on with Saturn? Because if we were all self-sufficient, we wouldn't have any worries about what is possible. If anything, we would know that we'll always be fine. Right? Children and all. Because all the adults were doing a good job. And we can. We absolutely can. But I guess there's times that we have to admit that we're weak and we'd like to be. You have to ask. Your opposite is Scorpio. You have to actually desire for yourself something. And when you do, then you have all the energy to go do it. And maybe we've said this before, but I feel like sometimes you are slower to change things because you don't. It protects you from making more mistakes. But the thing is, Taurus, is everybody makes mistakes. And if anything, learning the hard way, skinning your knee, all that kind of stuff, having that argument, feeling alone for a second, like whatever, it's actually some of the best lessons we can ever have, you know? So I also heard if there's anybody in your life that's pushing you a little bit, it's not like somebody that you actually know and respect, then I heard be aware that we all need to adjust a little bit to work together with other people, but we should all have our own motivation and goal, right, drive in the self to handle what needs to be handled. And then again, you combine forces and everyone working together works so perfectly. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's yes. Thank you for being here. Please take care of yourself. I'll talk to you next time. Peace.